So I read a study that talked about the human sense of direction. I think most of us think we have a pretty good sense of direction, but the study did two things. Number one, it had people swim with their eyes closed underwater, and the exercise was just swim in a straight line for as long as you can. Another part of the exercise was they had people out in the in like the jungle or the forest in the dark, and the exercise was just walk in a straight line for as far as you can. And what they found was invariably the people who thought they were swimming straight were actually swimming in a circle. And the people who thought they were walking straight through the jungle were actually walking in a circle. And so what they found was, without a compass to tell you that you're moving north, you're going to drift without knowing it to the west or to the east. And you'll eventually find yourself back at the same place where you started. That's why you need goggles when you swim, so you can open your eyes and see. I find that all the time when I try to swim, I end up going either to the right, mostly to the right and not to the left. But we tend to think we're going straight, but we're going in a circle. Why is that important? So when I first started my diet on March 14th, I decided I'm going to do these things, but I'm not going to weigh myself. I'm going to weigh myself maybe once a month, but I'm not going to be looking at the scale all the time. And I posted that actually on my Instagram story. And a friend of mine who's a physical therapist, he actually wrote me back immediately and said, you need to weigh yourself every day. And I thought about it, and that study came to my mind and heart. And I thought, I do need to weigh myself every day. Why? Because if I don't have daily feedback of my process, I'm going to drift. I'm going to drift, and here's why we drift. Because, every once in a while you give yourself an allowance, you make give yourself a cheat day or whatever it is. In our minds and hearts, like in my mind and heart, I do that like once a month. But once I start keeping track of everything I eat and then keeping track of my weight every day, I'm able to look back and go, oh wow, I actually had 12 cheat meals this week. In other words, you realize that you've drifted and you didn't even realize that you were drifting. So I started to weigh myself every day, and I continue to weigh myself every single morning. Why? Because I need to keep up to the minute track of my progress. Now, you need a mechanism for keeping track of your progress on a daily basis. The moment you stop tracking your progress is the moment you start to circle back to where you were. The moment you stop tracking your progress, if you're not tracking your progress, it means that you've given up. Even if you've given up temporarily, you've given up. You know what? Even if I'm backtracking, I'm going to keep track of my backtracking. Even if I'm off track, I'm going to keep track of the fact that I'm off track. I'm going to look at it every day. Getting on that scale every morning is an instant accountability for me, because it forces me to face the fact that yesterday I did not live up to what I set out to do, and it either calls me back or I have to deal with some shame or some guilt or whatever it is, but calling me back, because otherwise, I talk to people who say, how much do you weigh? I don't know, I haven't weighed myself in the last 3 months, but I think I'm probably around here. No, you're not. You're heavier than that. You've gone beyond that. We always give ourselves the benefit of the doubt when we're estimating in our own mind. And so another key for the journey is to create a mechanism by which you can keep track of your change. If you're trying to break a bad habit, keep track of your current situation. How often does that habit play out? Is it every day right now? All right. When you start the process of breaking it, does it go down to once a week or once a month or once every 3 months? How long has it been since you acted out in that way? Keep track of that. Keep track of it so that you can see your progress and that you can be completely honest. People who don't keep track of their progress when they're trying to change their life are like golfers that don't keep track of their score. And then they get to the end, golfers who don't count stroke by stroke, but then at the end of the hole, then they turn around, they look back on the course and they go, you see them trying to count you're always going to give yourself a better score in hindsight than you would give yourself if you just counted every single stroke at the moment you took the stroke. And so don't find yourself looking back trying to figure out what you did. Keep track of it. I started keeping track of every food item I eat. I'm using MyFitnessPal to do that. Somebody turned me on to it recently. And it's mind-blowing to see, oh wow, I didn't realize that had that many calories. Oh wow, I didn't realize that that had that many grams of carbohydrates. It's very important to keep track. So that's a major key. If you fail to keep track, if you fail to track your progress, you're failing. If you fail to track your progress, you're failing. That's a major key. Start today.